Guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 7, I've got a top stacks video for you for this week on DraftKings NFL DFS. Let's take a look at some of the 5 top stacks that you can use to put yourself in a better position to find your lineup all the way at the top of the tournaments where you got to win the big money. We're going to look at all 5 of them. I'm going to explain to you why. We'll take a look at NFL Savant and take a look at the target trees for every one of those players so that we can figure out how we want to attack in week 7. Let's go.
He's a legend.
The Week 7 Smiz Gang Listener League is up. It is $10 to enter. It's 3 max, $50,000 in the prize pool, and absolutely no rake. Go to smizzle.tv/links. You cannot find this game in the lobby. Don't bother searching DraftKings. You won't find it. You got to go to smizzle.tv/links, where you will find the link to enter the Listener League, as well as links to everything else that I do. Best Buys, which is up on ESPN Plus right now. Link is in the link tree. Instagram, Twitch stream, all the links are in the link tree. So go there, enter the Listener League, click literally everything else, and make sure that you get in early because it's going to fill probably like halfway through Saturday afternoon. So if you're watching this video and it's Saturday morning, you better enter it fast because it does say 2,000 to 5,000, but like it's going to fill very, very quickly in the next couple of days. My top stack of the week is Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. Look, I know that they did not throw the ball very deep last week. Just a horrible situation. The most attempts ever with no touchdowns ever in a game. I'm thinking that there's going to be a big bounce back from the Chargers, from Herbert, from this offense, not just because of the matchup with Seattle, which is absolutely prime, but they finally get Keenan Allen back, assumedly, this weekend. And looking at what their targets have been so far, in the absence mostly, right? Because like Keenan Allen played week 1, he had 4 targets, then he left the game, and it's basically just been this. It's not as varied a target tree as they kind of need. Like Austin Eckler leading the team in terms of targets. I'm fine using Austin Eckler, allowing him. Any running back that has over 15% of the market share targets, to me, correlates extremely well with their quarterback. I know the correlation matrix says that running backs don't correlate with their quarterback, but that encompasses every running back that has ever played the game and every quarterback that has ever played the game. And I agree that if you lump all of them in, then they don't. But when you focus on just the ones that have 15% of the target share on their team, they actually do. And Austin Eckler is on pace for like 110 or 115 catches. Why would you not play 115 reception wide receiver with the quarterback? Like Austin Eckler certainly has situations when he runs in a touchdown and doesn't, but like he is certainly a part of this passing game. Mike Williams is going to slide in where he should and should not see as much double coverage as long as Keenan Allen is out there. When they have more guys at all those different levels, Mike Williams gets to do what he does because he's not really a separator, so he requires one-on-one coverage. They have been force-feeding him targets in the absence of Keenan Allen. Josh Palmer will slide into a third role, tertiary role. Gerald Everett will man the tight end spot as well. So like taking a look at what their salaries are, Herbert is here, he's fine. I will include Eckler in those stacks. I am obviously going to include these 2 guys. Monitor Keenan Allen. If he does not play. He practiced on Wednesday, which is like the first step, right? Like if he needed rest, if he wasn't healthy, they would not have run him out there at practice on Wednesday at all. Monitor Thursday and Friday. All the signs are pointing to yes here on the Magic 8 ball of beat writers, where they're saying Keenan Allen looks like he's going to be ready for this game. Keenan Allen says that he's going to be ready for this game. If you wanted to get different, the way to get different with this stack would be with Gerald Everett or somebody like Palmer, who I expect to see way less targets than the 6 and the 12, although he is in concussion protocol. Just a weird situation because he kind of got slammed to the turf on like the first catch that he made in the last game, and then he played the rest of the game, and now he's in concussion protocol. So like you kind of pulled a Tua, stabby lung. You just keep doing it. Stop hurting your players. It's not a good idea. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals right behind them. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. They're too cheap. Look, I want them to do what they've done the last couple of weeks. They're starting to figure out that like and I've said this for a while, right? They want to identify, the coaching staff wants them to identify as a run the football team. And like that's all well and good until you have like guys like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and why did they disappear? And T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and Double H Hayden Hurst. Like you have some really great pass catchers. You have a fantastic quarterback, and they're finally putting him in shotgun like 95% of the time last week, and a bigger percentage the week before. Joe Burrow out of shotgun is a problem for the rest of the league. Jamar Chase is clearly a problem, garnering 29.4% of the target market share. Then it drops significantly to T. Higgins, Joe Mixon, who's getting like the most targets in the history of his career. I'm not going to include Joe Mixon in my stacks here. I'm going to try and leverage off of all the people that are going to play Joe Mixon with Joe Burrow doubles. Sprinkle in some Hayden Hurst and some Tyler Boyd. It's just these four. You don't have to go much further than that because of what their salaries are. Chase is expensive, but like Higgins is a great value this week. Tyler Boyd is a great pivot off of, and there's so much value at tight end that Hurst is going to come in at like 2% on the week. So if he stumbles into the end zone, has like 4 catches for 35 yards and a touchdown, he's going to be an absolutely fantastic part of a Joe Burrow stack. You could bring this back on Atlanta with whomever you want to. It's Atlanta's just a fantasy wasteland at this point. I don't know what to do with that team. Because I guess just screw Arthur Smith. I don't know what to do. Make sure that you jump in the Discord community. You can go to smizzle.tv/Discord. And if you become a channel member here on the main channel through smizzle.tv/join, if you don't see the join button next to the subscribe button, it probably means that you're viewing on iPhone and you will not have that join button because of, you know, Apple and other things. So go to smizzle.tv/join, become a channel member, go to Discord, find the hashtag instructions folder, link your accounts to one another, and you'll see all the VIP rooms where thousands of members of the Smiz gang are talking about every single sport, tournament NFL, cash NFL. Now that NBA is here, NBA lineups, and apparently they've smashed the first couple of nights of NBA. Daily fantasy can be an extremely isolating game to play. So make sure that if you're a part of our community, get the most out of it. The biggest value add to becoming a channel member here on YouTube or a subscriber on Twitch is our Discord community. So get in there today. Dak Prescott is back. Let's go. The Cowboys have played really slow in his absence. They have run the ball a lot, not passed the ball over expectation, as one would expect with Dak Prescott leaving in week 1. So for the past few weeks, they've been a run the football, bleed the clock, play slow sort of team. They are a much different team with Dak Prescott at quarterback. He's priced at 6,700 against a Detroit team that, like, we just want to stream everybody against every single week. They are so terrible on defense and so friendly. Let's say they're very welcoming. They just let you into the end zone. It's fantastic. They're like, hey, would you like a touchdown? It's like when you go to a friend's house and they're like, hey, can I get you a drink? The Lions are like, hey, can we get you a touchdown? That would be, would you like a soda? And they just invite you. They're very inviting. So CeeDee Lamb with his ridiculous target share, 10 target. This is all Cooper Rush numbers here. 10 targets, 8 targets, 8 targets, 12 targets, 11 targets. In week 1, he was inefficient, but still got 11 targets. So his role did not change, even though the quarterback changed. Will be one of the highest played players this weekend in tournaments, and for good reason. Like when you look at how many targets he's getting, 60 targets, 32. Anything over 25 is elite. Anything over 30 is ridiculous. 32.5% of the target market share, and noting the fact that they have been inefficient targets by comparison coming from Cooper Rush versus Dak Prescott in a Dak Prescott-led offense, he's going to maintain this same sort of market share. Noah Brown has been second, but he is going to be usurped by Michael Gallup. I think Gallup's going to fall in here at about 20% of the target market share. CeeDee Lamb probably will come down to 29-30% now that he's healthy. Dalton Schultz, I don't know if he's there or not, but then we've got like the buddy cop duo of Ferguson and Hendershot behind him. Ferguson, Hendershot, get in here. And obviously the running backs are going to catch a few balls, but not as many as in past years. So like CeeDee Lamb, we can focus on the outside guys for this offense, avoiding Elliott and Pollard, who are very solid plays this week. Obviously, both of them. Prefer whichever one you prefer, go for, but I'm not including either in the target market share department, right? They don't reach that level for me. So Noah Brown, 4,400. I think his snaps and touches are going to go down, but he is the third option. Monitor Dalton. He practiced fully on Wednesday. If he plays, I prefer him to either of the buddy cops in this situation. You can include him. It's a very narrow target tree and will pivot off of the running backs who are going to project very well against this Lions team. Lamar Jackson. Now, we got some things to talk about because, like, literally everybody on this team showed up as questionable after Wednesday. Because, like, the NFL removing probable pisses me off. And they did this, like, in 2020. And, like, it's just fine. everybody's questionable. It used to be probable meant that like you're probably going to play, like 75% chance you're going to play. Questionable was like 50-50. Doubtful was 25% chance you were going to play, roughly, if we were going to try and frame the discussion. So now if anybody has any injury at all, if they're not at the practice and practice full, you have to give them a questionable tag. So Lamar Jackson is questionable. Mark Andrews is questionable. Bateman is questionable, even though he practiced, but he was a limited participant, so he has to stay questionable. This is a very easy stack. There's like 3 dudes. First of all, it's Mark Andrews. You're just, if you're playing Lamar, you're playing Mark Andrews. He is the differentiator. He's the separator. One of these weeks, he has had under double-digit fantasy points, and 4 of them, he has completely been the differentiator at the position. If you play a tight end, you're like, man, I got 12 points out of my tight end. That's great. And every single person this week is going to be chasing the super cheap tight ends, whether it's DALTON, whether it's Dulcich, whether it's Evan Ingram, whether it's whoever the hell else. So everybody's paying down at this position. So it is so entirely easy to pay up to be contrarian with a guy who's going to put you in a much different position against the field at one of the 2 differentiating positions on a roster, which is tight end and defense. Although defense, way less projectable and predictable because there's way more variance and luck involved. Now, let's just say that Mark Andrews, who sat out yesterday, Coach Harbaugh said that it was just for rest, but they said it was a knee. Let's say he doesn't play. It is very likely that at 3K, Isaiah is going to be the highest played player on the slate in the case. He is your if-then statement if you're not going to have access to Mark Andrews. But like, this stack is very, very predictable. This is probably going to be the highest played double stack with Lamar Jackson in lineups, but a lot of people don't want to double stack, and very specifically, they don't want to double stack Lamar Jackson. You can use Duvernay if you want in the case that Bateman is back as a part of your double, just to get a little bit different, but like that's where the volume's going to go, and Lamar Jackson has been better in the games where Rashod Bateman has started and finished, and we've seen Bateman post 2 very solid days coupled with Mark Andrews. There are a couple of players you can easily bring it back with on Cleveland. Taking a look at the market share targets, remember I said that like 30% is a really good market share, like that's like elite of the elite. 38.5 is absurd. Like the record for target market share in a season was like Brandon Marshall at 39%. 1, this number is rarefied air. 2, this number for a tight end is absolutely game breaking. So like for those of you who watched my offseason footage of how I was drafting best balls, things I was prioritizing getting one of the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks. I was also prioritizing getting one of the top 3 tight ends. And look, as Meatloaf said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I like the Kyle Pitts usage, but like he just hasn't projected or hasn't done anything because of that horrible offense being run. But if you drafted Kelsey or if you paid up for Mark Andrews, you're probably looking pretty good in your fantasy leagues right now, because this number right here is just bonkers. Bateman should come back to having a, like, this is all season long, so it includes the games that he missed. This is every throw, and then his not in the games that he was in. In the games he's in, he's more around a 22% market share, with Andrews around 38, and then Duvernay kind of slides in behind them. Likely has done well, but not getting enough usage to really include in a stack. Why don't we go over to Underdog Fantasy? And if you don't have an account over to Underdog Fantasy, you can use promo code ALSMIZZLE. That's ALSMIZZLE, all one word. You can get up to $100 deposit bonus on your first deposit to the site. Let's make a little bit of it. Let's make a fun, stupid thing here in one of the higher total games. Let's go higher. Let's go higher. Let's go higher and higher there. Let's do that for $50. I'm not going to insure this. Let's go for the full 10x here. Play that pick'em. And now let's get to the puke stack. It's Jimmy G. But Al, Jimmy G is not going to have a 25-point day. He hasn't even had a 20-point day this year. I don't care. This is a situation where you get Jimmy G at 5,500 against a Kansas City defense that has given up an awful lot of points, not just against the Buffalo Bills, right? That's not exactly the only place that we've had to attack at this team. Vegas, 223, Tampa Bay, 273 in a chasing effort, 326 against the Chargers, and that was at the end of the game where Herbert got completely obliterated. This is a defense that can be had, and considering that Jimmy G has some very distinct players that we can target with him that all have touchdown upside and doesn't need downfield throws from him to get off, and it's such a narrow target tree, right? It goes to 3 guys. It's going to Deebo Samuel, it's going to Brandon Ayuk, and it's going to George Kittle. Can you find anybody that you might want to bring back a double stack with on Kansas City? I think you can. So this is easily on a slate like this. Look, we're dealing with the Buffalo Bills, the Vikings, the Eagles, and the Rams all on bye. We have Miami playing on Sunday night. We are missing major players on this slate. So getting a little bit different in a pace-up game while they're still playing at home and project as 3-point underdogs that you're going to, like, scoring field goals against this team is not going to get it done. If they get down 7 points, they're not going to be able to deflate the ball. They're not going to be able to run it constantly against Kansas City if they're playing from behind. And you're going to open up situations where Samuel, Ayuk, and Kittle have the opportunity to get you 6, 7, 8 catches. If Jimmy throws 3 touchdowns and you can get 2 to 3 of those, that double stack is most certainly going to pay off because the prices are not high enough for the potential against the Chiefs defense. Thank you for watching. Look for another video right there.
He's a legend.